Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the Math Master activity coloring right here is talking about is based on the story of Jaycee Dugard, and talking about it's like with the stolen life, and basically is that you can maybe look at it as a part of the story is like it's like a stolen life that you can maybe steal back by showing about it's like what you can do so far as between the things that you didn't think you could do and that you realize later that you could do it, such as maybe write a book, and then maybe draw a few say arc a few artistic talented say of say art clips, say such as squares, different whatever shapes that you pick, but right here I went ahead and described right here is for Math Master. Is it talking about is like with the different shapes you say is that you have the fruits right here along with the the pizza, and then of course it could be pepperoni or sausage or bacon, say type meatball type pizza, and then you got the cherries, and which I remember, if I remember right, this game right here, which I don't even know what it's called. I think the name of it, the name of the game was, I think it's called the cherry comp. You say pick a pick one for cherry comp or something like that. But basically talking about is that what you do is you would pick up the cherries and put it in like in bowls. Like it comes with bowls, and they would be like fake plastic cherries. And I guess you can have and like if you were to invent a game out of the mathematical type activity, such as strawberries, or it could be watermelons or blueberries or grapes, or it's like or it could be it's like besides fruit, it could be vegetables like carrots and celery, say celery, or it could be banana, or whatever you call it. But if you could maybe invent like a game that would go with the activity. But go ahead and use I'm go ahead and use the purple right here is like for like say if you were to use an ice cream as an example, is to like use the purple right here is like the hot fudge. It's like whenever you would get that get the fudge, that a lot of times that they would cover the ice cream with fudge a lot of times. And of course that any type of a math the mathematical type name that you would give for it, such as it's like what do you call it between the warm hot the hot fudge and then the cold fudge. But a lot of times people probably say that it's got to be hot in order to be melted. It's like melted into like a cone type shape. And then of course you got right here is you got the cup to where it's served on. You got that say the cup, or it could be the glass. You say that the Monte from how it's served. You got the say the ice cream right there, and then you got right here is the bars. Like you got the fraction of the division of the certain bars, and then along right here is you got right here this mathematical type problem right here talking about is with shapes, and then you got the talking about is the division and subtraction and multiplication, and in addition so far with the problems. But you got to see here working with is the red, and then of course is add a little bit of green right here, green detail. And a lot of people will probably say that it kind of makes math a little bit more fun whenever you add just a little bit of color to it. But of course working with right here is see here working with the crayon is to add a little bit of detail right here. A lot of times which I remember when I was in math class that of course I didn't really do any of this type of activity right here. Mainly it was about it's like working with number 2 pencil, or it could be it's like working with a pen. But the way you describe right here is kind of like what I did in school. But for most part, most kids, I would probably say that with most kids' schoolwork, that if they were to do any type of mathematical type problems, that they would work a lot of times with numbers. And a lot of us can remember whenever we were in school that you have like multiplication type problems. And if I remember right, of course that I think that if I remember, the basics about long division. Got long division. You got like a big number right here, and then you got a smaller number. It's like how many times is that this number going into that number, and of course you say is with the long division. Of course, it'll take me some time, really to do like a mathematical type problem now. But anyway, just like draw like a little examples of mathematical type problems, and then of course with when you got the number right here is like for that proper name for like the additional type problem. But a lot of times is that if you were to do mathematical type problems, that a lot of people would whenever I was in school, if I remember right, that my math teacher a lot of times would give us homework. It's like every once in a while give us homework, but then they give us a math problem to do, and a lot of times that I remember that I would get confused, and then I would say, oh, now I get it now, and then I would get confused again, and then I would go, oh, okay, I get it now, and then I would get confused again, and I would even get more confused, and then it's like you had to explain everything over again, just like I guess you could say kind of like field of chemistry, or it could be geometry. That a lot of times that a lot of students would probably say that that they don't like that subject because it's just too hard, too confusing. You say, I would probably say that between math and science, I'm like, for whatever reason, I mean that subject right there, science, I guess it got confusing after a while, because a lot of times with with magnets and stuff like that, that the stuff that they would have you do, such as studying about stem cells or something like that, which of course talking about math here, but basically talk about is with math, that type of math problems that I did whenever I was in school. And of course a lot of times with these different math problems, a lot of people would probably say that there's different ways to where you can count. It's like, so far as math, it's like got this little tool right here, and of course that never used one before, never had one before, and such as you say it's a calculator. It's like something like grab a calculator. A lot of the stuff right here is what I went ahead and bought, and a lot of people would probably say that they'll only use it whenever they have to use it, when they need it, and with all these little tools and gadgets right here that you would buy at the store, and a lot of times a lot of people would probably say that they're not going to spend their money on it because they don't want to bother with it. They don't want to bother with the fork and spoon unless they need to. But then on the other hand, of course that I never need a whole lot of stuff whenever I was in school. But then on the other hand, if you buy it and kind of get experience with it, like it's kind of neat, due to the fact because of you kind of understand it a little bit more. It's like you got the ruler right here. But based on the story that I know of, it's like based on the book is a Stolen Life. Of course, which if I can remember right, the writer is like that I know of. I think she mainly mentioned that one of her favorite subjects, of course, was English, and I would probably say that that was probably one of mine too. Art and English, and I would probably say that if there was a subject that they could have, maybe later on in the future, of course, is that so far as subjects about if you could discover a toy that a lot of businesses would use, then more likely that maybe a glow ball, or maybe the Deoncontic silver or something like that, like a LED light that runs on its own separate generators. Say it's like a power source that it gets its power separately from other than it's like from AC outlet, you say. But basically is you have right here is the math problem, And then you got right here is the calculator, and of course, this little homemade multiplication chart right here.